We've got Therese O'Toole here at Southampton University, just presented at the C2D2 seminar. Thank you very much for coming. Could you just start by telling us a little bit what the talk was about?
The talk was looking at the evolving picture of state engagement with Muslims in the UK over the last decade and a half, in a context in which there's been a lot more engagement on the part of the state with Muslims, particularly recognising Muslims as a distinct religious, and not only as an ethnic group, and looking in particular at the some of the policy areas in which engagement has taken place across equalities, cohesion, and partnering for the delivery of welfare goods and urban regeneration, and perhaps the most controversial area in relation to the implementation of security and counter-terrorism policy. And the paper asked the question, to what impact has engagement through the rubric of counter-terrorism and security policy had on states' engagement with Muslims more broadly?
Okay. Could you tell us a little bit about the background to the project and the reasons why you were interested in this?
Sure. So the project is a 2.5-year qualitative study of Muslim participation in governance. So it picks up on the questions of how Muslims become involved in governance initiatives, what are the practices of engagement and the rationale for engaging with Muslims on the part of government, and what impact does Muslim participation in governance have on policy processes and also practices of engagement. And then the final question we ask is what's the impact for Muslim civil society organisations on stepping into participatory governance initiatives. So those are the kind of four sort of framing questions for the research, and we have been looking at those particularly since 1997, the advent of the new Labour government, at the national level and in 3 local case study areas: Birmingham, Leicester and Tower Hamlets.
Okay, good. And I understand the research is still underway, or the analysis is still underway, but could you tell us some of the preliminary findings that you've found so far?
So I suppose the fieldwork is all finished and the project's formally closed. January 31st was the last day of our formally of the project, but the analysis is still very much ongoing because we have quite a large qualitative data set to work with. And I suppose the really interesting findings that emerge from our project is, first of all, the increasing significance of engagement with Muslims in a whole variety of policy areas and at different levels. But perhaps what's really interesting is the sheer variation from one locality to another in relation to the ways in which the state has engaged with Muslims. So the picture of Muslim participation in governance across Leicester, Birmingham and Tower Hamlets looks very different indeed. And that's even in relation to policies that have very strong kind of national central articulation, like the Prevent programme, for instance. If we looked at how Prevent is implemented across the 3 localities, they look very, very different.